which is probably one of the more defining Kikkerland products I can think of. And I think if you understand the critters, you understand Kikkerland. It's very simultaneous. But so he's here tonight to present the results of Project Mil Folhas, which is a 20-year reforestation project that he manages in Brazil with his team and with the help and support of Kikkerland. And it's really, truly remarkable what they have accomplished and what we've accomplished together in those 20 years, which you'll see in a few minutes in his presentation. So we're very proud and happy to support such a healthy and beautiful project. And before we get to the presentation, I'm going to have Jan van der Laan, founder of Kikkerland, to say a few words.
And thank you everybody at the store for the wonderful setup. It really looks great. Yeah, Chico, the critters. 20 years ago, Chico invented the critter by walking to Canal Street and finding a small little wind-up mechanism. And he put a couple of wires on it and the thing started to walk. And then he thought, that's great. And he started selling it all over the city. And that's when I stumbled on it, because our dear Kevin, who is the manager of this store and who used to have his own store, he introduced me to the critters, and I asked for it, and I couldn't make it because Chico was gone. And but anyway, for 20 years we have been selling lots of critters. I don't know how many, maybe Kevin will know, about 1 million or so. And it's been a really good run, because not only you know, it sells a lot, but it has become part of our image. Like when people talk about Kikkerland, they very often say, from, "Wow, you're the company that makes that little crazy little wind-up thing that looks like you had 1 million cups of coffee." But anyway, I wanted to tell you a little story about how it all started, because in the beginning, when Chico made the critters, and he couldn't make them anymore because we ran out of vintage toys, I asked him if I could make it for him, and I wrote him a letter. And he wrote me back saying, well, sure, why not? And so I took the sample of the critter all the way to China, and I stayed there for 7 days, and every day I visited three factories looking for the best place to make it, and nobody could make it until the 7th day, the last day, the day that I had to fly back. I finally found the critter. There was a little wind-up mechanism sitting on the shelf, and I could see it from the distance, like, yes, that's it. And there was a very nice old lady, her name was Kitty, and who has become a good friend of ours. And she said, sure, she could make it for us, and she was going to make samples. We negotiated pricing, and then I looked at my watch and said, oh my God, I got a plane to catch. So I rushed out, and then she screamed after me, listen, there's one thing. I said, what is it? And she said, there's an MOQ. I said, what's an MOQ? And she said, it's the minimum order quantity. I said, what is it? It's a container. And I said, how many in a container? And she said, 100,000 pieces. So I said, okay, I gotta go. So I went back to New York, and soon I got the sample. And I got this beautiful sample, and looked just like Chico's. And so I put it at the trade show. It was in San Francisco, and a guy came by, and he had in a suit, and he started playing with it, and he said, ah, it's nice. I said, yeah, it's nice. You want to buy it? And he said, yeah, sure. I said, how many you want? And he said, 100,000 pieces? I said, sure, why not? So that's how the critter was started, and since then, you know, it's been a big success, and it's part of Kikkerland. And even last week, when I Googled my name, because I wanted to know, you know, if there's other Jan van der Laan in the world, and on the first page there's Chico. So I guess we're very well connected, and it's not only in business, but we're also very good friends, and we always keep good contact with each other. And so it's been a great pleasure. So Chico, here you go. Tell us about your reforestation project, which is a thing I'm very proud of. Thank you.
Maybe we should hit the light so we can see the image better. Is this okay?
What's this?
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, just to finish up what Jan was saying, I think the critter's existence is really a miraculous thing because so many incredible things had to happen for it to exist, and if it wasn't for Jan, and maybe the fact that he's a little crazy, nobody would ever produce the critter. It took a man who, moves around on a bike and lives in a boat to produce the critter. Obviously, if it wasn't for Jan, there would never be, it wouldn't go beyond the original critters, and this is really special for me. Also tonight, there's so many key people during the production of Critter, like David Deere and Bob Fidlow, and my roommate Ed Antoine, whom I was living with when the Critter was produced. It's a very special night for him, for me. So we're going to talk about the reforestation project, but before I wanted to say a few things. How much I love Kazumi and Jan, and Daiska, whom I met as a child, is now like my great friend, who's such a cool dude. So it's so special for me to be here tonight with all these people. And then there's Kobe, my new best friend, and I love him so much. I wanted to send a message out to everybody that don't buy a purebred dog. Adopt a mutt who needs a home. It's the greatest thing in the world. They're just the most wonderful creatures. I was supposed to prepare a little more for this event, but then there were caipirinhas and there were all these people who I wanted to talk to. Let's see, what I was going to say here. Okay. Anyhow, so I think that without Jan's generosity and Kikkerland support, this project would not have gone as far as it has gone. And it's pretty amazing how much we've achieved in the last 10 years. I mean, the project has been going on for 20 years, and Kikkerland's been supporting it for 15. But in the past 10 years, things really evolved. I mean, it started out very slowly, and now it started moving in geometric progression, and now there's a lot of geometry out there. You will see soon. What else am I supposed to say? Another thing I wanted to say too is that this past week I had a closer contact with the Kikkerland team, and it just makes me really proud to be a part of this company. So many great people, and I'm just really, really proud to be near them and be be here at Kikkerland spend a whole week here. So anyhow, let's go on with this project. It began in '96. This is what it looked like in 1996. The image was made from a mountain on the other side. This is a really beautiful valley surrounded by one of the most endangered and richest biomes in Brazil. It's called the Atlantic rainforest. It has the largest variety of trees of any forest in the world. Not the largest variety of plants, that is in the Amazon basin near Peru, but it has the largest variety of trees. 350 different species of trees, countless plants and animals. It's a super rich forest. So all this area you're seeing down here was destroyed. Oh, I don't need a pointer. It was destroyed so the road was duplicated, doubled, and it was very unnecessary. So it looked like that. It was very, very sad. There was fire, as you can see, in over here, more fire here, erosion. So I'm going to take you for a tour of the place. We're going to go around and up and down, and I'll show you pictures of the before and after, so you can. So this is the same view seen from straight above, an aerial photograph taken 2 years before, in 1994. So this is a Photoshop preview exactly 20 years ago, and how I wished that it would look like this here. Except that I think we went beyond that. I think the trees are actually taller than this, and except for one small area that it's not public, and we couldn't plant here, things are looking pretty good. It's very surprising. So, okay. this is the area I want to show you first because it's a special place. For 7 years we planted trees with children from the local school, and during Earth Day, they prepared before that, and during Earth Day they painted all these slogans about nature, and they went for a walk, a 3-kilometer walk from the school to this place, distributing these signs and collecting garbage. And when they arrived, they would plant trees, an average of maybe 1,000 trees, so there's 350 children. So this is the area down here in 1996. Notice the fire above and the scenario. So detail of the area is the only flat area where the kids could plant. And this is what it's looking like now.
Wow.
Yeah, it's very beautiful, very rich. So there's a couple of pictures of the children working in that site. This, I believe, was in 2004. The kids. So this is the area seen from above. It's this area here. There it is. Very different now. This is seen from the opposite of that early picture on the road. And we're moving forward and looking back into it. Further away. Now we're going to turn around, and we're going to go around the around the road and back up. So this is the area that we have chosen to show the before and after. The evolution pictures. It's where we started working first. It was very, very poor soil. The tropical forest. Once you remove the tree cover, the soil becomes depleted of nutrients very, very fast. What keeps it healthy are the roots from the plants, believe it or not, that put phosphate and nitrogen in the soil, and of course the leaves that fall and provide compost and nutrients. So we had tiny fragments of trees spread around. So this is the area in 2000, 2004, 2006, 2008, 2009, I think, 2010, 2012, and now 2016. So we're walking up and looking at the same place from another angle. So I think 2004, 8, 12, and now 16. I had to move to the road because there are trees planted on this opposite side stopped the vision. So then this area here, which had a lot of erosion, was a big surprise because the soil was actually pretty good, and the trees we planted there grew very fast and very healthy. I mean, it was great. So that area is this area. Notice there was fire and a lot of erosion, and it's looking like this now. So look at this. It's just like so many trees we can't even really put them in the picture. And so we're moving up the road, and this is looking the opposite side. These are trees we just recently planted, these low guys here, that we planted recently. And so now we're going to venture into the forest. It's on that one that looked, that had all the erosion and the fire. And we're going to go up to the next level. This is the scene from the back. Rizinho, this guy here, he is the man who really makes it happen. He is an amazing guy. This is my gardener on the right. So it's funny because this guy, he walks in the forest and he looks at it like his thing, he's always concerned with every little thing. And next to him, it's a heart of palm tree. This is what we're aiming to plant more now. We've planted over 35,000 hearts of palm in the past 2 years, and we hope to plant 150 in the next 10 years. They're really special plants. You can plant them in the middle of the forest. They need shade because you can't plant them in the sun. They like to search for the sun, and they turn into beautiful slender trees. Tons of them, little babies, some slightly bigger, and their fruit is super important for the fauna, and they're very endangered because those jars of heart of palm, that's what they became. It's a very sad story because they cut down the whole tree that takes 20 years to grow to get one leaf that white thing you eat is the leaf that is about to sprout from the middle. And it's white still because it hasn't seen sunlight, so it has no chlorophyll. So they destroy a whole tree so that we can eat one leaf. So we're going into the forest, and the thing that was very important for us is to get rid of the weed. Once you get rid of the weed, the trees, things that fall can grow and sprout. So this situation is interesting because there's a lot of new growth in trees that we haven't planted. It's a very young forest still, You look from a distance, it looks like a full-grown forest, but it's merely an adolescent. So, but there's a lot of new growth, and it's looking very healthy. The soil is surprisingly improved and healthy. So what we did now is that whoa, wow, El Capitan, what happened here? That's another beautiful place if I've ever seen one.
A little more planting to it.
Yes, yeah. Oh wait, sorry, I pressed the wrong button here. Go Avi.
Some trees.
Oh, stop. Stop moving your hand for a second. So just put it on the... Yep. Okay. Cool.
Sorry. All right. Thanks.
Yep, we're good.
So we just went up here, and we're going to go across. And this area here was the worst. I mean, the soil it's what it was called a decapitated soil, Tractors cut the surface of the mountain, and it was super depleted of nutrients. I mean, not even weed would grow. It was this yellowish sand. And we managed to recuperate it. It was fantastic. What happened too is above the mountain there's a big forest. Whatever rolled down, whatever seed that came down during the rain would never grow because the soil was just so poor and there was so much sun. And now that we have a forest there, it can grow. So it's going to be incorporated by the rest of the, there's the area. I mean, you can tell that it was, and notice how they went around here, and there was another piece of, and it was just completely cut down, and it was really unnecessary. It was a completely stupid thing that was done. So that place is looking like this now. I mean, for those of you who are familiar with a Milfolia site, within the next months, I'm going to fix the site. We're going to revamp it. And I'm going to go back to the other side of the mountain to take pictures from the same angle. But I'm going to hire somebody with a drone to do flybys and pictures. So the next 2 or 3 months, we're going to really spiff up the Milfolia site. We hadn't been working on it too much because we've been busy, planting trees. And but there's going to be great photos and better angles, so the site's going to look very cool. So basically, this is what the place looks like. We're going to go into it soon. So there it is. These are the trees on the board next to the road were the most recently planted within the last 4 or 5 years, but they're already looking very good. There's like 2 or 3 guys working, so they have to be, we don't have a large crew. So that's the place. So, and that's what it looked like. Check out this gutter here. There's an amazing thing that happened in here. So, okay, so we're going into it. On the border, you see there's still some weed, so we're venturing up. There's weed on the edge that is dying now, which is great because now all the other plants can grow. You still see there's a little bit of weed where there's sun because it needs a lot of sun. But otherwise, it's looking like a real forest when you go inside. And it's only from the past 10 to 8 to 10 years that we started planting here. It's amazing the change. I mean, the trees are skinny and stuff, so we get up on the top. There's a law in Brazil that you cannot plant underneath the power lines. So you have this area without trees. You'll see the Google map picture. There's from above there areas that we couldn't plant because of the power lines. But you can get a view for a picture here. So there's just a strip. There's above there are trees, below there are trees, and the strip of land. And you can notice that there's still weed here because there's a lot of sun. So that's the view from, you can see the area where the children play, and this area here that was also very, in really bad shape. All this area here, you know, is the area that I showed you before that on the other picture, but this whole thing, and that was it, you know. This, we're looking from up here, down here. And that's what it looked like in 1996, and that's us now. So, so then we're starting to go back down from that area, and looking like a healthy forest again. I mean, I saw little toads and all these little plants that grew up spontaneously. It was really great. And heart of palm, you can see those little sticky things. And this, the gutter, we used it a lot before while we were working because it was easy to climb up. They have these steps to slow down the speed of the water. And when it was exposed to sun, it was just harsh concrete. And now it's, you know, covered in moss and kind of more friendly. But what happened now was, with the trees growing around it, they started pushing the boulders out of the way. They started breaking away the gutter, and it's beginning to look like a river, a natural river. Look at this. This is where the gutter was, and this is such a surprise, you know. It broke up the gutter, rolled some, you know, during the rainstorms. So this is where a gutter was, and now it's becoming a river. Look at this. And then when it goes down flatter again, it becomes a gutter again, which is really amazing. And this is the area more or less here. So it was a big surprise for me, you know, that the forest is sort of breaking away all the concrete from man-made stuff. So we're moving back and down, and it really feels like a forest underneath. It's very young, but it's all this new growth and all this healthy. So this is getting back, looking up between the two highways. And another surprising thing, well, it's not that surprising, but it's great to see, is that the trees are beginning to shade the highway. The canopies are beginning to butt against each other from either side and create a shade, and it's very nice to see. And because the place is so much more pleasant now, and even though it's only a 2-mile stretch, for cars and trucks, if they roll on the shadow and you know, in the shade of trees, the asphalt is cooler. It consumes the rubber less, and even in that sense, it's good ecology going on here, you know. So there we go. They're just from both sides they're beginning to grow, and this is that area that from the previous picture. That's what it looked like before, and it's looking like, you know, that and this. So when you look from a distance, it's such a huge difference. Look at that. And this is amazing too. You know, all these trees are just sprouting all over the place, and it's end of summer, beginning of fall. But they're healthy. I mean, it's amazing. This is one of my favorite fruit. We planted a lot of edible fruits. Of course, every tree, fruits, has flowers and fruits, but not all of them are edible. But we planted a lot of edible fruits, thinking of the fauna. So this is great. It's rose pepper. The French love it. Aroida, Esquinos terebintifolius. I don't know if Charles recognizes the French love it for cooking. Rose pepper. And we're getting lots of it, and the birds love it. So this is a picture of some of our saplings during the period. I mean, we are beyond this intense period of planting 30 to 35,000 trees a year, because now we're doing, you know, heart of palm, and we're going to move on to the other species of plants like bromeliads and orchids. That's really going to enrich. There are two big orchid bromeliad collectors who are going to start making donations. They're cataloging, and they're going to donate endemic species. So, you know, by the way, we're very concerned with only planting native and endemic species. And of all the trees, you know, we've planted over 320,000 trees of 60 to 80 different species. So it's a huge variety, and it's a very rich little forest. There's some of the saplings that we produced, and then I had to live with tons of fertilizer for years and years and years. This wasn't even the top. I mean, there was times when there was just like, you know, tons and tons of fertilizer in my house. And there's a forest above, which now that we have a little forest cover, whichever seeds that roll down are going to sprout. So the forests are going to be incorporated onto each other. And that's the mountain on the opposite side. The picture that I took of, you know, the view was from this rock. And we couldn't do it now because it's end of the summer, still wet, very dangerous, it's steep. So I'm going to wait for the dry season to go up there. But there's so much forest around it. I will show you pictures afterwards and you will understand. So soon our tiny strip of forest is going to be incorporated by all this forest around it. And there's a view from Google Maps. See, it looked pretty dramatic from the bottom, but it doesn't look like that much from above, right? But it's because it's very young, and the canopies are not as big as, I don't even know what year. This Google Map may not be that recent, but 14? Oh, okay, yeah. So I'm going to show you the pictures going from a distance so you can see. Look. There's our area, you know, you see from above, you know, there's this sort of skinny thing. So you can see how much forest is around it. I mean, this is all forest around it, and all this much. If the project is up there and it's invisible and tiny. This is a huge, huge national park called Tingwa, and it's got so many plants and so many animals, and obviously we're going to end up getting some stuff from it. So Zekar, our benefactor, designed by Guga Kazari and I, with the sole intention of providing funds for the project, we figured, you know, since the building of a highway that for automobiles was what provoked the destruction of the forest, nothing better than a car to bring the forest back. So these are renderings, that's Zekar in nature. This is Guga on the right, Cesar and myself, the three people who started the project, doing it ourselves in the beginning, busting our asses. That's Jan and I, two young dudes in the forest in 2003. Luizinho, this guy is really the man who made it happen. He's got so much energy and so much love for the project. It's really remarkable. He is a guy who I have the utmost respect, and he is like amazing guy. Nothing stops him. And finally, I'd like to dedicate this project, as I always do, to a man called Sir Philip Jenkins, an Englishman who lived in Brazil most of his life. Very close friends with an amazing artist called Margaret Mee. If you're interested in art and botany, look up Margaret Mee, M-E-E. He was 85 then, and super involved with the project. I mean, he was the most dedicated, you know, person to the project. And every time we went and planted trees, he was there. It was amazing. So I dedicate this project to Philip Jenkins, who's a wonderful guy. And that's it. Thank you for coming. a lot of caipirinhas. So, but it's so glad to be able to show the world this little project of ours. So.